everybody. This is the fun stage of our book. So hopefully anybody who's been watching in our first video, we used some texture paste on a book or a canvas and we painted it with black gesso. Then we did a second video where we rearranged some decorative elements on our book. They can be any sort of elements you've got at home, or you can buy some new ones if you decide you want some new stash. And now the fun bit, how we decorate it all. So I'm going to turn the camera around and here goes. 1 moment, just rearrange that a little bit. There we are. So this is the book. Oops. That's the problem with live. I can make silly mistakes. This is the book that we're going to end up with. Hello, Deb. This is the book from the end of stage 2. So yesterday we put all these elements in place, and then this morning I just painted it with black gesso. You could use black paint. If you have a choice though, black gesso just has that little bit of a gritty bite to it. So this next step that we're about to do will stick better. So next we need to get ourselves a fan brush. The difference with a fan brush, it's why it's called a fan brush, is all the, what do you call those things? Typical me, I've just gone blank. All these little bits are fanned out as opposed to sort of being clumped together like a painting brush. Bristles, that's the word I'm after. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose the paint that we would like. I'm going to use any paint will do. Nice acrylic paint. You could use your Kaiser paints. You could use your Dyna paints. I'm using these paints here purely for the colour. These are actually a texture paste, but they work brilliantly as a paint as well. If you have your paints, I'm trying to think of some other brand paints out there. The Seth Apter paints would work really well. As long as it's an acrylic paint, you are set. So, if you happen to have a paint that's in a little bottle like this, you'll need to squeeze some out. These bottles, I'm happy to say, have quite a big opening at the top. Now, if you were very fussy, you would have 2 paintbrushes. I'm not fussy, so I'm going to get 1 paintbrush. I will get a bit of cross-contamination happening here. All you're going to do is pick up a little bit of the paint. You don't want a lot. If you feel like you've picked up too much, wipe some off or get a piece of paper and wipe some off. And all you're going to do is brush it lightly all over the place. I wonder if I can pick this up a bit higher to see. The reason we're using the fan brush, see how we get this really thin little bits, hints of paint? If you were to use a solid brush and paint it all solid pink, well, you wouldn't see the black and you wouldn't see the purple. It would just be a solid colour and it just would look pretty blur. So that's my official word of the day. It would look blur. If you are fussy, you would use a different brush in each one, but as you can see, I'm not fussy. I don't mind a bit of cross-contamination. It'll clean up later. This was a purple that Xanthi picked out. It's my little niece. And she picked out this pink as well. She wanted pink, purple, and green. And when she made this book, now this is something I forgot to do yesterday. See how my spine is plain? I forgot to say to people, if you want to, glue some gems down your spine. And you see how you get that really cool, like, riveted effect? That is something that I could do later if I wanted to. You can, that's the beauty of these books. You can go back and you can decorate a bit more and just got to paint it black again and then keep painting and inking and all the rest of it. So we're going to turn it upside down. This was that beautiful backing where we did the flourishes. So yeah, see how the fan brush gives us the sort of the lines as opposed to, as I said, I was describing earlier, a solid. I'm probably picking up a little bit much paint now because I'm talking so much while I'm doing this. I'm trying to read. Oh, any acrylic paint. I don't know if we've got many acrylic paints on our website. I know there's a few there. I do need to get a lot more of them up. So I will work on that later. But hopefully a lot of us have acrylic paints in our collection at home. And you know what? Whatever colour appeals to you is the colour that you use. There is no colour that won't work. So that's all there is to this stage. Put your lid back on. So we've got a hint of colour all over it, and we are now going to put that aside to dry. Because that's going to take a good 15 to 20 minutes to dry, just before the live, I did the other Spellbook. One moment, I've got to put my paintbrush in water. Always put your paintbrush in water or it's bye-bye paintbrush. So earlier I did that exact technique. I used a blue paint. Oh, now the one that I used for that green is one we do have on the website. Let me grab it. And the green one is the one that just dropped and rolled across the floor. Hello everybody, I'm back. These are called a lunar paste. So this green, and you could use the blue as well. So on our website, if you search lunar paste, L-U-N-A-R, you will find these. Look at that stunning shade of green. I could have used this blue as well. That stunning shade of blue. I happened to use the other blue just because it was one I had in my stash. On your other book, if you decided you wanted red, look at that red. That is delicious. So all I did earlier was exactly that same process. I did it with the blue and the green, and I left it to dry. There was that brickwork, which I'm loving. On this one, I did put texture down the spine by tapping along it with the texture paste and letting it dry. I still may go back and glue some bling on there because I just love the bling down the spine. They look like little rivets. And now, the fun bit. We're going to work with some waxes. The original waxes came in these tins for many, many, many years. If you leave the lid off your wax, it will dry out and there is no way to get it back. Some people put, I think, terps in it, but the smell of terps makes it so disgusting. For myself personally, I don't want my book smelling of terps. So if I've left the lid off, I've thrown it in the bin and bought myself a new one. So then last year, there was a lot of controversy. The company bought all the waxes out in these little bottles, tubes. The reason being, if you leave your lid off and walk away, you're only going to have a little bit at the end dry out. You would squeeze that out and then you can continue to use the rest of your wax. So that's probably a better way of doing it, especially if you're like me and you tend to walk away and leave your lids off. So anybody who's got some of the older waxes will have them in tins. Anybody who buys waxes now will get them in the tubes. And wow, do they smell amazing. They are made with beeswax. For myself today, I'm just choosing rich copper because I love the metallic-y look of the copper. I'm choosing this blue purely because I thought it went nicely with the other blue, and I'm choosing the gold. The gold is the key that ties it all in. I've had a lot of people send me some projects of what they've done so far, and they all say it's missing something. The gold will be what it's missing. When you see this finished, you'll go, aha, I know exactly what you mean. There's a beautiful, we did this book in class, and a lady finished hers off with silver. That was stunning as well. I should do one of them in silver just because it looked so nice. So all you do, pick up the wax with your fingers. Any fingers, if you use these two, they tend to be a little bit, you tend to press a little bit softer with them. You're pressing with that finger, you tend to press a little bit harder, but by using these fingers, you tend to press a little bit softer. All you do, pick a little bit up and rub it around. It is that easy. And the smell, as I mentioned, is just amazing. There's no hard and fast rule about how much or how little you use. This is personal preference. This is your book. Make it work for you. If you had a pink wax and you decided you wanted to do some pink on it, you could. Now, in theory, when you go between waxes, you should get some paper towel and wipe your hand off. I'm going to do that. Normally I don't, but when I'm live, I should do it so you all pick up the good habits, not my bad habits. Now I'm going to go over onto copper. You could go on to whatever colour you liked in particular. For myself, I love the copper. Now, it's probably not standing out very much on the camera. In a moment, I'm going to lift the camera closer to this and see if it works. Let's bring the camera down and see. You're starting to see how this wax is just picking up on the raised surfaces and giving that really nice metallic look. If we move the actual book, hopefully you're picking up some metallic finish there. Sometimes camera phones just aren't as easy to see things as they are in real life. So as much or as little as you like. Everybody's different. I've heard some people say there's a hard and fast rule about how much you must use. My rule is, if you like it, use it. If you don't like it, stop. Now, the castle, this is going to look particularly nice as we go over it. Oh, look. Oh, let me bring that down to the castle, the camera again. See how our nice castle's starting to look? He's really picking up the metallic finish there. Okay, so we're going to keep going. And as I said, this smell is just amazing. Beeswax. So if you had the tube, you'd just be squeezing a little bit onto your fingers. Now, if you absolutely hate getting your fingers dirty and you don't want to do this with your fingers, you can do this with a brush. I'll show you exactly what I mean in just a moment. So there we are. I'm happy with all my copper on there now. Now the finishing touch, I'm going to go to my gold. Ideally, if you were making this at home, you'd give it a few minutes to dry. I wouldn't use my heat gun on this because wax melts. So if you try speeding up the drying time with your heat gun, you're going to melt the wax. Having said that, it can be a spectacular finish if you experiment with it, and then later on you can put like really nice deep bits, then melt it and it melts and run. Gosh, you can get a beautiful finish, but that's just experimentation. So if you absolutely hate using your hand, you can pick up a brush and do it. What I would then recommend is, let's do it this way. Put a little bit on your hand like so. Pick it up with the brush. Once you've got wax on your brush, you're probably not going to be able to use it for anything else. So on this, I've written wax, so I know it's my wax brush. So you can just pick it up and, oh, I'll put it on the camera. See, I'm sort of working it into my skin. It's not lead-based or anything, so you're certainly not going to hurt yourself. It's only beeswax, so you don't have to worry about poisoning yourself with lead or anything. But myself personally, as much as that looks nice with the brush, I prefer my fingers. Like, that's the whole idea of getting crafty, is getting a mess everywhere. So now we're going to go, oh, I'm going to have to pick this up because the table's wobbling, which makes the phone wobble. We are now going to go all over the place, all around our edges with the gold. The gold just warms it up and finishes it off. Thank you, Deb. It is easy to do. This was the vintage gold I was mentioning to you when you showed me your project. And I said a bit of vintage gold because the paints that you've used look fantastic. And now this gold just ties it all in together. So just go over everything. You'll probably, you know, if you want to go and commit a crime after this, you might get away without fingerprints. We have to do a CSI show and say, oh no, we couldn't get the fingerprints because they were crafters. And I really particularly like to go anything raised. Then we'll go down our spine, down both edges of the spine. I think all around the outside is the key and the raised bits. If you do the whole thing solid, you're going to end up with just one solid. Yep, I heard the ka-ching, Deb. Deb's ordered some in the background. We will be taking these along with us this weekend. But if you really, really want them, do a click and collect. Order them online now, and that way you're guaranteed them because some of these products have been running out fast. I will order more in, no worries about that. But if you want them now, because we all know what it's like, you want to do your book now. And so now, just raising little bits and pieces all over. You can do as much or as little as you would like here. And then you will stop. Now, handy hint, that brush that I just mentioned, I forgot to mention this the other day when we did our live the other day. The brushes we're using are by Dinah Wakely. So that white one I used just then is this smaller one. This bigger one, they are a brilliant brush. You pick up so much ink on them and you cover so much area. I can highly recommend these brushes as an amazing brush to work with when you're doing your mixed media. And there we have our Spellbook done. There is one more step that I'm going to show people tomorrow. So we will have a 4th live on this. I wonder if I turn my... Oh, that's better. I turned my camera light on so it shines it a little bit. There is a 4th step that we will be doing tomorrow. That now needs to be left to dry. Tomorrow we're going to come back for a 4th step. See some of these extra shiny bits here? I'll show people tomorrow how to get the extra shiny bits using gilding flakes, and these little seed beads here just to fill in some of the gaps. So we'll be doing that in tomorrow's step. And this is the end of today. So once this has finished drying, this is my pink one. Once this is finished drying, I'm going to rub all the waxes on that one as well. And when it's finished, it'll come up beautifully like this. So it's got the flowers and all the goldy bits. There we are. Hello, Rhonda. Hello, Julie. Hello, Sharon. And so when you've finished, you'll have lovely hands like this. And they will smell amazing. So I will go and upload this video to YouTube. We find a lot of people tell us that they don't get notification of the videos in Facebook. That's a Facebook thing. But on YouTube, if you follow us on YouTube, and we'll post the link in the comments in a moment, and hit the bell button. I'm learning YouTube.